saw this post on Twitter. It's from an NBA account out of Brazil, and it says, "Is Tim Duncan underrated?" Because they're showing a graph here where basically they're saying, "Look, everyone is putting Kobe in the GOAT conversation." We heard Shaq on the Pat McAfee show say that Kobe's in the GOAT conversation, and one Tim Duncan doesn't even get spoken about in any conversations really when it comes to all-time greats. It's almost like Duncan played a great career and disappeared, right? I mean, in the Tim Duncan era, there hasn't been another player that has been more consistently great across the board. I mean, individually, team wise, and everyone will poo poo, oh, he played in a system. No, he was the system in San Antonio. That's the problem. It's not his fault that he was the system, right? Tim Duncan was essentially not a direct parallel, but he was pretty much the Tom Brady version of football in the sense of Duncan. Now, Brady was a lot more dominant later in his career than Tim Duncan was, but Tim Duncan was the ultimate team player. He understood how to get things done. He understood how to win. That's my point. Winning. Did he win every year? No. Did Tom Brady win every year? No. But you get the point. He was always in it. There was not a year where you said, "Oh well, Duncan and the Spurs have no shot to win it." I think almost every year that Duncan has played in the NBA, you knew there was a chance. He had a chance to win. So that's when I'm making that comparison, that parallel. That's what I'm basically saying. No other player you could have said that about over the long period of time than Tim Duncan, and then in football with Tom Brady. Now, and with this comes, they want to know, is Tim Duncan underrated? I say no, because most people, at least in my eyes, we consider Tim Duncan one of the greatest, obviously, of all time, if not the greatest power forward in league history, right? That is definitely, he's in the conversation without a doubt, if not the best. Even his own peers, Charles Barkley, others have acknowledged that Tim Duncan is probably the best at his position ever. So he's not underrated. The problem is Kobe and these guys, LeBron, Kobe, have been overrated. And when I use the word overrated, we're not saying that Kobe wasn't great. But you could be a great player and still be overrated, okay? You could be great and be overrated. Kobe's great, but he's overrated. And he's been overrated more since he has no longer been with us. LeBron, another one. Great career. Longevity. Played great, very consistently as far as individually. Not the same type of winning over the same long period of time as like a Tim Duncan type and others. But he's been great. He's also had a lot of hands in his manufacturing of his greatness, right? LeBron's greatness has been orchestrated, manufactured, while Tim Duncan's is more organic, right? Even Kobe's is organic more than LeBron's. Tim Duncan's not overrated. He's rated. He's like I said, arguably the best at his position ever. It's just the other guys have been overrated, and that's the problem. Kobe's overrated. LeBron's been overrated. There's no reason why those guys should be in the GOAT conversation, but they are. And you can't, and they ignore Tim Duncan, because if you bring Tim Duncan into the conversation, then you almost hurt LeBron, because it's like, well, Duncan beat LeBron in his prime. Duncan beat LeBron when it counted, right? In this scenario, it's like between Duncan is Tom Brady, LeBron is Patrick Mahomes, right? Duncan's beaten LeBron when it's counted multiple times. Yeah, LeBron got him. He got him. But Duncan got him more. So Duncan got him early and he got him late, right? Almost 10 years apart. Almost. Not quite, but almost. But yeah, Tim Duncan, that's why Duncan's kind of not been talked about, because it's like, okay, because you can't really push the LeBron. They have skipped over Tim Duncan and started introducing Stephen Curry, right? That's the problem here. Like, you telling me that Curry's had a much more dominant career than Tim Duncan? Hell no. Right? So the same argument you want to use for, oh, well, Tim Duncan played in a great system. No, Tim Duncan was the system in San Antonio. He was the franchise focal point. Just like in Golden State, Curry was the focal point. And you had great pieces around him. Same thing with Tim Duncan. So why is that different? How is that a knock anyway? That a guy is in a team that's built around him. I mean, literally the Spurs were built. The Spurs dynasty was built around Tim Duncan. If Duncan, built around him. So that's not a flex. I mean, Duncan's attitude allowed the coach to hold him accountable. Right? Literally allowed him to hold him accountable. Like, yeah, I can't hold you accountable if I have a superstar that's not going to allow me to hold you accountable. If Duncan can be held accountable, anybody on the roster can be held accountable. That's the whole point. That sets a big stage. LeBron wouldn't allow no coach to hold him accountable. LeBron wanted to be the coach, wanted to be the GM, the owner. He wanted to be everything. The agent. He did the recruiting. Come on now. Like, so they ignore Tim Duncan because if you introduce Tim Duncan, it almost knocks LeBron's GOAT theory out the window. Now, I guarantee you, if Duncan would have lost, Duncan would have had these same stats, and he would have lost to LeBron more than he would have beat him. Oh yeah, they would have mentioned Duncan for sure, because that would have helped LeBron's case. But the fact that Duncan's got the best of LeBron more in the bigger moments, they're gonna ignore him. They're gonna ignore him. You can't be the GOAT when guys in your era that you played through have been more successful than you, right? So, while yes, early on MJ struggled in the mid-'80s in that first part of his career, where let's just say, okay, but who was considered better than Michael Jordan in the mid-'80s, right? Right, there were names. Like, at that time, you could probably say, Kareem was considered the GOAT, Wilt, or whatever. But during the stretch where Michael Jordan started winning, no other player in the league, out of all the great players, not one of them got close to him. So in LeBron's era, you have guys who have been way more successful than LeBron, or just as successful, and have beating him. So it's kind of hard to even consider the fact that he's the GOAT when he's not even the GOAT of his own era. If you're not the GOAT of your own era, how the hell are you going to be the GOAT for all of the NBA? Doesn't make any sense.
Tick, tick.